It's pretty rare that I find an article that is so ridiculous that I need to make a video about it, but today I'm doing exactly that. I was eating a protein bar. Looks like I got a little poop tooth. I'm not editing that out. And today we get the pleasure of reading comicbook.com by Logan Moore. Logan Moore is a gaming staff writer, loves to play Dark Souls. Fair enough. All right, Logan, you're saying that Black Myth Wukong doesn't deserve a Game of the Year nomination, and here's why. First and foremost, you're probably a good guy. Dark Souls, you probably know what you're talking about. We probably have very similar taste in things. And it's okay to disagree with somebody without bashing them. I just don't really like the message of this article. But he's saying that there's a strong case to be made that it's not deserving of a nomination for Game of the Year Award 2024. Astrobot Balatro, Final Fantasy, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor, and Black Myth Wukong. He doesn't even, in this whole article, he doesn't mention that this is nothing without this. And this already got its roses. And this is DLC to this. And it probably maybe might have a little bit to do with this. Let's talk about being biased. Part of me is almost kind of relieved he didn't bring it up, and of course I'm going to, because it is something that's been spoken about too much. And realistically, I think half of these nominees are a little controversial. In the last 30 days, if you look at Balatro, it was Googled the most the day they announced that it was a Game of the Year candidate. Black Myth Wukong hasn't really achieved the same sort of critical acclaim to warrant such a nomination. But he's saying it's behind the likes of Tekken 8. I'm pretty sure that game is already on sale. And then Animal Well, nothing but good to talk about that. In fact, I probably would have seen Balatro get replaced by that. Like a Dragon Infinite Well, which scored a 89, and let's talk about that. Black Myth Wukong scored overwhelmingly positive with 750,000 people. The better half of 1 million people went in and said this game is really good. Infinite Wealth didn't break 10,000 reviews. I mean, it's very positive. That's really good. It's a much lower sample size. Right? In my opinion, I think the people spoke. Earlier in the year, I saw a video from a girl that basically said, hey, reviewers are just dudes, by the way. Like, they're just like, hey, you know what I mean? They were just dudes that have our own opinions and things that we count as what makes a good game. And I think that's really telling to this article. I think that when it comes down to it, are we holding too much weight in how well something is reviewed versus how well it's received? I mean, we've had millions of people receive this game with overwhelming positivity. And then, you know, you've had a couple of people that are just some dudes playing the game to test it out in arguably the worst state that you can play it in, which is the most raw, unpatched version, and rating it, right? I could see that if this article said, like, Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game to ever receive a Game of the Year nomination, I will go, dude, that's a crazy stat. I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even think about that. But the fact that it's kind of like framed like the Game of the Year award is only exclusive for games that are allowed into the club by just those select few dudes that have their own preferences, then I think that's bullshit. This almost frames it as if the people love a game, it doesn't matter because the reviewers didn't score it high enough. For sure, IGN gave Concord a 7. That's only one more point than they gave Black Myth Wukong. And ultimately, this is the committee board that actually nominates and elects all the games for the nominees for Game of the Year. But these are the people that are rating the game that nominated the lowest rated game to be Game of the Year nominee. That doesn't make any sense at all. The same people that gave this game, like I think they gave them an 8, right? They gave it a solid 8 out of 10. Put it on the nominee list. So it's the most played single-player game of all time. 750,000 people reviewed it positively, and you're talking about just a few dudes that rated it slightly lower than other games that you think might possibly be deserving of the spot. I don't think it's not deserving of a nomination because it was scored like marginally slightly lower than some other games that you've mentioned. I don't believe that at all. Like I think Black Myth Wukong clears a lot of the games that are actually on this list. Like it clears Prince of Persia, which is ironically Ubisoft's best invention in a long time. Sons of the Forest, absolutely loved it. Probably clears it. It clears Dragon's Dogma as well. I'm surprised I didn't see Echoes of Wisdom in there. But all of these games, if you just keep scrolling down, Diablo, who cares? Dude, it's much better than Diablo. Black Ops got an 83. Do I even need to keep scrolling? Like, these reviews don't mean anything. I think that this pretty much speaks for itself. And again, guys, like nothing against the article author. Like, I don't want to be too mean to Logan Moore because everybody has their opinions. I just don't really like the message of this article.